such a vast toll of needless human suffering. And the suffering is universal. It is there in the poor Palestine and there in the rich Israel. Of suffering varies from country to country. In the rich world, it is often defined by lonely institutions. Regressing as humanity, have you ever encountered this question? Seed of compassion and spirituality embedded in it. Right from the times of Mahatma Gandhi, Gautam Buddha, and all those kings, India has been supremely reigning the world of all these virtues. So what is future? Future is not a place. It's a thing that we all create together by seeing one dream. But we need to have the same dream, same principles, same values, and same vision. Unfortunately, nobody like Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi is there who can show us the way, bind us under one umbrella, and create the peaceful world like a magic. Have you ever heard of this term called mental leprosy? Have you ever heard? So mental leprosy is the disease that we all are facing today. Our main enemy, what my grandfather called that time, is a loss of sensation and empathy, seeing injustice, suffering, and doing nothing about it. We see a beggar on the street and we do nothing. We see a street child who is asking us for money, but we just shut our windows and flee. So that is mental leprosy. And I feel we all are suffering from mental leprosy. The world is suffering from mental leprosy. We feel bad about it, don't we? We feel bad, but we don't enact on it. Because we are running. In order to survive, we are running in this competition to prove us in the marketplace. We are all driven by marketplace. Our education system is all sold to the marketplace. We need to run twice as our competitor to survive in this competition. We have to adopt. We cannot take pauses. We cannot acknowledge that beyond us world exists. My friend says, I don't have time. Do we all say the same thing? We don't have time. And then what we feel? We feel isolation. We feel guilt. We feel loneliness. We feel sickness. We run. We get exhausted and we die. Somewhere deep inside, we feel like taking pause, doing something, have compassion, forgive and forget. But we don't have time. Have you ever imagined what it will be like to die without ever knowing why you ever existed? I had the same conflict going in my mind. For many years, I was running behind building my CV. I had a poorly half-pager CV with a small NGO career. I was blinded by that, and I could not do anything about it because I was not able to do anything about it. I was running. I was not able to take pause. But I started doing introspection because I knew that something is going wrong. My grandfather, Baba Amte, he never had a business card. He never had a CV. But what a career he had, man. What a career he had. When he died, almost 1 lakh people came to bid adieu to him. So I started thinking differently, and while doing the literature search, I came across this theory of a Jewish rabbi called Joseph Soloveitchik. Joseph said that there are two peoples in one mind, that is called as Adam 1 and Adam 2. Adam 1 is all driven by economic logic. That person is always building his CV, he is fighting war, he is very ambitious, he is running, he doesn't take pauses. And Adam 2 is a very subtle moral logic of that self. Adam 2 works on building his eulogy virtues. Eulogy means something that people read when you are dead. Adam 2 says you have to forgive to forget. Adam 2 is very subtle, and we are always having this perpetual fight. Do we feel that? So I thought maybe I should work more on my Adam 2 because Adam 1 looked so distant. I had so many dreams, I wanted to I wanted to go to the UN, I wanted to give a TED talk, study at Harvard, work in finance, but I was terrible in finance and my husband used to laugh at me like anything 3 years back. And I also wanted to do something which is different for me. I wanted to develop loving kindness and I wanted to die as a person, what my grandfather was. But over the period, what I realized that when I started thinking like my grandfather, I also came across a lot of barriers. The first barrier that I came across was to build relationships. I had never built relationships after my medical college. I have a small kid and a husband and we were very content as a family. but no friendship. And I was dying because of that. And I realized that I have to do something about it. But I could not do because I was not approaching people. I was being afraid to be the one who loves the most. So I thought that I'll break that barrier. I started loving people. I started loving my parents, my child, my husband, my friends, my girlfriends, everybody. I started expressing gratitude to them every morning, and the conversations just started flowing. I mean, here there are some people who every day get my messages and they revert back for no reason, and we have a relationship now. So that's how I started flowing. I started writing poems. People started responding, and I broke my barrier of expressing love. The second barrier was about environment. I did care a lot about environment, but I could not do anything because I was not part of the G8 or the climate summit. So what I did, I thought I'll start very small with my child because he also needs to develop some kind of loving kindness towards the nature. So what we don't do big things. We just do some small things every month for a sustained period of time, and that's how we are building that project. What is that project? It's a tiny green hands project. We plant one fruit tree every month. So the logic behind it is, if he plants one tree every month, by the end of 5 years, he would have planted 60 trees, and at the end of 50 years, he would have planted a forest of 600, oxygen and food for so many birds, and sequestrated the entire carbon of our village. And we have been doing this. For last so many months, we have planted 26 trees, and we plan to continue that. So that's how you do it. That's how you break your barrier. And the third barrier, which was really a greatest barrier for me, that was about building spirituality. So I was a very headstrong girl. I was always opposed. I'll go to the God and tell the God that God give me something. For me, spirituality is a different quest. It's a soul search. So I started reading literature about it. And I came across this very beautiful theory of a Gandhian philosopher called Vinoba Bhave. He says that if you have to search your soul, it has to be a confluence of three things. It has to be the swabha, what is your nature, whether you are angry, whether you are subtle, whether you are arrogant, whether you are swadharma. So need of the family and need of the significant others. And what is the yuva dharma? Yuva dharma means need of the society. So you are the confluence of these three things. And I actually started doing those diagrams, and I found that yes, my purpose lies in that confluence. I still had a poor half-page CV, right? So what I do now, I get up in the morning, do a 5-minute meditation, and break my barrier. I extrapolate all the rest, and then when I'm out of meditation, I'm actually doing those barriers, breaking those barriers. So that is how you do it. That is how you feel the pain of breaking barriers, and then you go and actually do it. So there is one passport to be compassionate self and loving kindness. I'll read this Gandhian quote for you. I will give you a talisman. Whenever you are in doubt, or whenever the self becomes too much with you, apply the following test. Recall the face of the poorest and the weakest man in the society, and ask yourself, if the step you contemplate is going to be of any use to him, will he gain anything by it? Will it restore him the control over his life and destiny? In other words, will it lead to Swaraj for the hungry and spiritually starving millions? Then you will find your doubts and yourself melt away. So that inspired me a lot. As I realigned my dreams, I realized that there were additions in my CV. My poor half-pager CV became a 3-pager document. The quest for Adam 2 led me to a very strong Adam 1. Surprisingly, I achieved all 5 of my dreams in 1 year. I am giving a TED talk, going to Harvard in a couple of days, went to the UN last year. I am working in finance, managing a 160 crore industry now, and I had this dream of achieving 0 figure like Kareena Kapoor, which is a district, but I am working on it. So how do I design a new world? By treating the mental leprosy. I'll tell you the story of my grandfather, very briefly. He was a wrestler and a freedom fighter. He was given a title called Abhay Sadhak by Mahatma Gandhi. However, while returning home one day in a rainy evening, he stumbled across a flesh That was that was a man in last stages of leprosy. He fled that place. He went home and he cried. First time in his life he encountered fear, and to win over his fear, he went back and he decided that I want to work for leprosy patients. How did he do it? During those times, leprosy patients were legally isolated on islands and were contained on islands and made to die. But he started a place. There was nothing beautiful in that place, but he still chose to call that place a forest of bliss. He started it with 6 leprosy patients, a lame cow, 2 young children, his wife, 14 rupees in his hand, and an uncommon determination. He was a common man with uncommon determination. He did nothing. He was just a common man. But he said that I will start with myself. I will give myself a chance. I will give them a chance. And we coined a new word for it, that is chancity. Chance, not charity. Leprosy patients were really in pathetic condition, but he tried to dress their wounds and he made them work. He actually started with agriculture, but cultivated the crops of compassion, dignity and confidence. Today, Anandman is an awesome place in the darkest district of India, famous for black gold, black cotton soil, pitch black air and dark forests. Anandman has helped more than 2.6 million souls so far. It's a 60 million rupees economy. But still in 2017, at least 1,000 people who are excluded from their homes come to Anandman to seek solace. But Anandman is a thought. It's a future created by all these wounded souls coming together and who jointly created it. So, creative humanism is the key. You create the future. I create the future. All of us, we create the future. We do it. All our thousands of fellows are doing it. Why not you do it? Can we come out of our echo chambers and start resonating with the same frequency and harmony so that we create a force of change together for the last man in the society? And this is how we cure our mental leprosy, so that we build bridges, not walls. I'll end my talk with a small poem that I wrote a couple of days back. Design of a new world starts from me, every molecule and atom and nanoparticle inside me. I rise and see barrier, fear it to death. Like a thunder on seashore, dark, black and stealth. I want to beat, but I can't do, because I don't consciously agree to. Every day I run like Aries and Red Wing to achieve discontent and lose shame. I don't have time. I say by shame, I refuse to be the part of the game. But one day I decide to break it. I meditate and envisage it. I fear and quench my teeth for the barrier to break me to death. I do it every day until I die to see myself rise and fly like a phoenix who would grow from the fires and ashes and blow. My barrier has gone and I am still alive. I am no more afraid to breathe and chime. Small fragrance of love every day. Small steps took me such a long way. I love freely and not afraid to boast. To be one who loves the most. They all came back whom I had lost for the barrier that fell apart. Loving kindness is the key to free will. Compassion is today's supreme need. Future is the place we all create there through micro agents who dream together. Design of a new world is not a paper. It's a contemplation of our nature. How we change will change the creed to create a future free of greed. Adults will love and children will be happy. Animals will grow and oceans will be happy. Nature will rule and plagues will die. Then our genes and generations will survive. Thank you.